Hello YouTube, back in the next Yu-Gi-Oh! Review, and today I'm reviewing Dark Hole, and as you can see, this is the Legend of Blue Eyes version. This is actually the reprint of the card, because it is from the Master Collection when it came out, because that actually had a bunch of packs in it, and that's how I got the this version. I was very lucky to get it, but of course it was banned at the time, so I guess it was somewhat unlucky, but I'm actually glad to have it now. But yeah, it's a very simple effect, and it's pretty devastating too. I mean, it's probably one of the most broken cards in the game. It's kind of surprising it never came back. I mean, yeah, there's so many cards that can benefit, but who cares? You still wipe their field. So no matter what effects they get from out of it, they've lost their entire field at the expense of just getting a few effects off. And yeah, of course, you've got more monsters that also can't be destroyed by card effects now, but so what? Again, how often do those come up, really? And of course, it's a very simple effect. It simply destroys every monster on the field. Of course, I know what you're probably thinking. Okay, it's pretty balanced, right? Not necessarily. One has to remember that you can have no monsters on the field. You can draw it when you have no monsters on the field at the time, and just clear your opponent's field out, and then bring out your monster and get a free direct attack. Especially if your monster locks out your opponent using spells or traps when it attacks, like Ancient Gear Golem, for example. But it's a pretty devastating card. I'm actually surprised. And Raigeki also came back, and Raigeki's even worse than Dark Hole as a whole, because it does not affect your field at all. And this card is also a spell card. I mean, it's, I think, limited to 1, but I think even limited to 1 is too high for this card to come off the list. And you can also use it to your advantage for destroying your own monsters as well. Even if your opponent has no monster on the field, or if you've got a monster that can get triggered, the effect triggered by that. And yes, I know I just said that it doesn't matter. That's for your opponent's side of the field. Your side of the field, it probably will matter, because then you get the effect off of your cards. So again, I think even if the opponent controls a monster that can't survive, you'll still benefit either way. So you can just have it when your monsters on both sides of the field. Your opponent's monsters, for whatever reason, are not all affected by it, so some get taken out, and then you lose your field, but you get the advantage because you have a whole bunch of effects that get triggered as a result of this one card. I mean, it's absolutely insane, and there's no limitations. You activate more than one. Now, granted, yes, we've got the card limited to 1, but that's the only reason why you can't have more than 1 copy in your deck. There's nothing saying on the card that you can't use more than 1 copy. So you could have 3, it wouldn't be tournament legal, but you could have 3 copies in your deck. It'd be pretty insane, but the card does not restrict you from activating more than 1 copy. I guess it's under the idea that you're never going to have enough monsters to make use of that again. But nowadays, I think you would. So it'd be pretty viable to have the card be. I mean, the card is so that's where a situation where your opponent would come in where it would come in handy to have more than 1 copy. So you can take down cards that can't be destroyed by card effects once per turn, or have an effect that negates the activation of something and destroys it. I mean, there's cards like Prime Material Dragon, so you can force your opponent to keep using cards up for that. And of course, you got Magician of Faith back, so Konami, I think, is some ways trying to wreck the game by, I mean, it's like, they're not adding variety, they're also bringing back cards that were a problem in the game to start with, and I think are still going to be a problem to start with. We just haven't seen them yet. But overall, very good card, without a doubt, a staple in every deck. I mean, that just basically means you put it in every deck you have, really, because, I mean, why not? I mean, it's a very good card to draw when you have nothing else. You're on your last draw, you've got very few life points, and maybe few, if any, cards in your hand, no monsters on the field. Just play this. Your opponent's field is gone, and then you. I mean, they may have a lot of cards in their hand, they may be able to come back and win, but at least you cleared their field. You actually made it so they couldn't. You didn't lose when your opponent had a full field out. They had maybe 1 or 2 monsters out. And of course, you can take advantage of losing your monsters as well, because, I mean, monsters like Battle Fader, I think require direct attacks. So, clear the field, and then if you've got Battle Fader in your hand, or Swift Scarecrow, or something like that, you can take advantage of that as well. I mean, this is a very solid, very versatile card. I mean, there's no restriction on it whatsoever. I mean, doesn't require anything. You don't require any light points to pay. No spell. Nothing. You know, your field can be empty entirely. or full or whatever. I mean, it's such a versatile card. And it's a normal spell. I mean, the only thing that would make it even more broken is if it were a quick play, because then you could play it during your opponent's turn and nuke their field. And granted, you wouldn't be able to do anything about it in that turn anyway, but that's probably the only way you would ever make this card even more broken than it already is. You can take advantage of it in so many ways. So, very good card. Again, surprising it came off the list in the first place, because it's just so overpowered, even in today's game. But yeah, definitely worthwhile in your deck if you get your copy. If you get your hands on any copy, it's now a common. I think probably in just about every instance you can think of. All the starter decks came with one. I think the evolution decks both came with one. It's been common like in a wide variety of places. I mean, granted, it hasn't seen as much printing, although it's come back. It's starting to get more prints, I think, out of it over time. But a very good card, worthwhile for your deck, regardless of what the meta says it is, or what anyone else says it is. You've got a solid card you can count on in your time of need. So that's my review on Dark Hole from Yu-Gi-Oh! Thanks for watching.